JonBenét Ramsey was 6 when she was tragically killed. Her family has endured harsh accusations and inquiries for years. Burke, her brother, is speaking out after 28 years of silence. His revelations are heartbreaking. Let us reveal the true cause of an adorable kid star's death. Burke Ramsey's revelation nearly 3 decades ago, JonBenét Ramsey's terrible story broke millions' hearts. The 6-year-old girl was found dead in her family's basement, turning the holiday season into a lifetime of sadness. After 28 years, her older brother Burke finally speaks, shocking the world. He was 9 when JonBenét died, but the media maelstrom didn't spare him. Instead, it thrust him into the spotlight, suggesting he knew more than he admitted. Whispered, accused, and speculated. The family was viewed with sympathy and distrust. Every Ramsey's move was analyzed. The questions lingered. Did a stranger enter that night? Someone inside the house may be responsible? After 28 years of silence, Burke, now in his late 30s, spoke out on Dr. Phil. His emotion-filled voice cracked as he recalled that horrible time. He remembered staring at his sister's little casket at her funeral and seeing her weird eyes. One seemed off, he recalled. It stuck with him as a kid. Sadness hit him hard then. He admitted to not understanding death at the moment. Burke said he cried as his father softly told him his sister was in heaven, and then broke down. The discovery of JonBenét's corpse in the cellar changed everything. She smiled in her pageant costumes as a young beauty queen. The awful fact of her death replaced her innocence. She was strangled, her skull broken, and she was being used, reports said. It was a nightmare no family should experience. The horrific ransom note left in the Ramsey house exacerbated the problem. It asked for $118,000, bizarrely matching John Ramsey's incentive father received at work. Patsy Ramsey's notepad was used to write the long, curiously detailed note from inside the house. Investigators couldn't understand it. They also wondered who would have time or calmness to write such a long note during a crime. That clue alone convinced many that the perpetrator was inside. But no one anticipated Burke, the calm youngster who had reportedly slept through it, to be suspected. People criticized him for not getting up during the turmoil. Why wasn't he curious? Why didn't he leave his room? Some thought he knew what happened. When asked if he hit his sister with a flashlight or bat, he didn't hesitate. He said no, absolutely no. His confusion about what was happening downstairs kept him in bed. He envisioned a scary person in the house or something horrible was happening. But he didn't know what to do. He thought his folks would handle things. Burke appeared to smile during the interview, according to some. However, those who examined his expressions said what appeared to be a smile was actually nervousness and discomfort. Legal experts and media who had followed the case from the start weighed in as Burke spoke out. Many regarded Burke as one of media history's most sought-after interviewees. This was because he had never publicly told his side of the tale before. Even worse, his father John said the media broke their family apart. Even a quiet supermarket trip was heartbreaking. Young Burke read a newspaper headline accusing him of the crime. He sobbed in the store. Ramses tried to safeguard their son despite pressure. Patsy and John attempted. Make his life as normal as possible. How do you safeguard a child when the world is watching and judging? Even interior video revealed a chaotic residence with investigators, evidence markers, and unresolved questions. A flashlight heavy enough to be a weapon, a homemade strangling instrument formed from one of Patsy's paintbrushes, footprints, and even stun gun markings on JonBenét's body were uncovered. Unexpectedly, no traces of forced entry. This brought investigators back to the family. Why would someone go through so much bother inside the house but leave no indication of breaking in? Even Burke was questioned by police. Newly disclosed early interview videos show him being closely questioned. Authorities considered the possibility that he accidentally wounded his sister and his parents covered it up. That was never proven. Burke, a software developer, keeps a low profile despite his past. His decision to go public was questioned by many. Despite no proof linking him to the crime, others thought he came across poorly. People who had never experienced his situation evaluated and misinterpreted his body language and sentiments. After all these years, JonBenét's death remains a mystery. The Boulder police chief reminded the public the case is ongoing. They still want answers and justice for a little girl whose life was cut too short. This tragic mystery captivates. It may be because JonBenét was young. It may be because the case involves money, beauty, tragedy, and suspicion. It may be because we all want to think that justice can be found after all this time. Whatever the cause, Burke Ramsey's long-awaited words have complicated a complex story. But when you believe Burke was the only family member to speak, John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, startled everyone with his passionate comments that made them rethink the claims. Stay closely because the truth may soon be revealed. Fight for justice. John Ramsey, her father, cannot tolerate the thought that the perpetrator may still be alive. He struggles to comprehend how such a terrible event could occur and how justice has never been done. John has endured this anguish for decades. He lost his daughter in the cruelest way, but the perpetrator has never been punished. If police enforcement had done their job properly from the start, John Ramsey believes the individual who killed his daughter would have been found. He says they focused on accusing the family, mainly him and Patsy, instead of finding the genuine offender. That early assumption raised suspicions that never went away, even if there was no proof. It left the family alone, crying, and fighting to defend themselves while attempting to understand their tragic loss. He said dealing with such strain was tiring and heartbreaking. They lost their daughter in a horrific way and were being investigated by the very people who were supposed to help them. It felt like an endless nightmare. He thinks investigators' tunnel vision stalled the case. They neglected other suspicions and clues that could have made all the difference by focusing on the family. As months and years passed, those early mistakes worsened. Investigators got defensive and closed off, and less likely to admit error. Instead of starting over or consulting specialists, they continued down the same route. For John, stubbornness has been a major hurdle to justice. He recalls Patsy's struggles during those years. The accusations broke her heart since she loved JonBenét. Stress, public scrutiny, and endless questioning wore her down. She died of cancer in 2006 without knowing who killed their daughter. John also shoulders the burden of a wife who died without knowing the truth. John claims that the same investigators are still handling the case despite their failures. He is shocked and wonders why no new people with fresh experience or modern talents have been appointed to tackle it. He feels that they don't want aid and are more concerned with protecting their reputation than identifying the perpetrator. He believes it's about justice being delayed or denied because some people won't confess their mistakes. That hurts most. While he has spent every day trying to keep his daughter's memory alive, the ones who should be helping seem more concerned about saving face than doing what's right, and he's aware of how the public perceives the situation. Because the family was targeted early, the media ran with it. Many stories and crazy ideas portrayed Ramses in a bad light. John feels this made the case difficult to understand. Drama, speculation, and gossip distracted the world from finding out who hurt JonBenét. Still, John persists. He believes that DNA testing and other forensic scientific advances can reveal something previously missing. He hopes new people will come in and rethink everything with fresh eyes and better tools. If that happens, they may finally understand what happened that night. John isn't seeking revenge for his daughter's death. Give her the justice she never received, to prevent other families from experiencing what they did. Most importantly, it's about preventing the perpetrator from hurting others. His voice is sad but determined. He lovingly recalls JonBenét as a vivacious, spirited boy who brightened their home, not as a victim. This crime occurred 28 years ago, yet inquiries have never stopped. The moment John Ramsey mentioned DNA evidence was intriguing. Is the truth about to be revealed? Watch to find out. If JonBenét Ramsey were living today, she'd be 35. The world remembers her instead of celebrating another birthday. She was gifted and adored dressing up for kid beauty contests, but she only lived to age 6. Her lifeless body was found in her family's cellar the day after Christmas 1996. She was brutally beaten and strangled. Her name was known nationwide because of her tragic death and the fact that no one has been caught or prosecuted for her death. After 25 years, the murder of JonBenét remains unsolved. The Ramseys' tranquil and cheerful morning after Christmas altered when John and Patsy found their daughter JonBenét wasn't in bed. When they uncovered a handwritten message claiming she had been kidnapped and demanding $118,000 for her return, their fear grew into terror. Patsy cried for help on the emergency line, shivering with panic. After arriving immediately, the cops failed to secure the home, leaving a mess that would long plague the case. JonBenét remained missing for 6 hours after the police arrived. Instead of handling the situation like a delicate crime scene, people entered and left the residence, touching things and destroying clues. Important evidence was overlooked or discarded. How the matter was handled from the start made recovering what was lost extremely impossible. Colorado reporter Paula Woodward covered the case then. Everything was hectic, she remembers. But way JonBenét's corpse was found was forever in her mind. John Ramsey found her in the basement 6 hours after the police called. The last detective in the house casually told him to look around. What if the police found her? Imagine if John scooped her up and carried her upstairs instead of leaving the body alone. The inquiry was severely harmed, say experts. John described that moment in agony. He claimed he initially felt relieved to find his daughter safe. He instantly lost his feeling when he discovered she wasn't breathing. He shouted in agony, unwilling to comprehend his discovery. The devastation was unthinkable. It was terrible when police raced to conclusions. Paula, like many others, thinks the local police bungled the case by swiftly implicating John or Patsy. John remembers how aggravating it was to be questioned about trivial stuff while the real perpetrator went free. His only wish was to find the proper person, avoid being accused of injuring his child. If trained homicide experts had taken over the case immediately, the inquiry may have been different. John thinks much of the chaos, evidence mishandling, and missed steps might have been prevented. He alleges improper crime scene processing. Instead, inexperience and arrogance caused a massive failure. Additionally, the police leaked false information to the press, which was ready to print anything delicious, real or not. After discovering JonBenét had competed in beauty pageants, the media went crazy. Something about that fact changed everything. First photo of her in pageant makeup surfaced 4 days after her death. From then on, the story captivated the world. Once curious, now accusatory. Her upbringing led to parents being blamed. Critics claimed Patsy was pushing JonBenét to follow her aspirations by entering him in such events. However, John clarified that it was different. Their big-hearted daughter liked pageants. They even joked that she needed to lose one to understand life isn't always fair. Never was Patsy pressing her. Family members enjoyed it. Still, JonBenét in makeup was remembered by many. The public judged the family regardless of how many times John and Patsy denied involvement or how much proof was lacking. The case was unsolved for years. Patsy died of cancer in 2006 without knowing who killed her child. However, a surprising discovery 2 years later gave optimism. The district attorney disclosed that JonBenét's clothing had DNA from an unknown male, proving John and Patsy were innocent. DNA even sincerely apologized to the family. John appreciated it but didn't regard it as justice, just a modest step forward. He knew they were far from discovering her killer. Only recent scientific advances allowed this DNA discovery. It cleared the Ramseys, but it didn't find the daughter's killer. The case was silenced again. Another breakthrough restored John's hope. In 2018, the Golden State attacker, who had evaded capture for over 40 years, was caught using DNA technology. John saw fresh
possibilities after the arrest. What he learned in one of the labs shocked him. This technology was powerful, detailed, and effective. Why couldn't JonBenét's predator discover a calculated predator after so long? John was resolved to retest the crime scene's remaining DNA samples with these new instruments. He thought this was the best chance to settle the case. A DNA expert who solved over 200 cold cases compares her work to a huge puzzle. Genetic genealogy lets her trace family lineages and identify people by comparing DNA. The strategy that started with finding long-lost relatives is now used to catch criminals. Cece said naming a suspect strikes her deeply because she's one of the few who knows what they did. That weight is heavy. She and her colleague, Dr. Ellen Graytock, analyze 1 million DNA points, far more than the few dozen spots traditional forensic labs use, and they're confident they can identify JonBenét's killer if given the evidence. This improves their chances of finding new leads even without a suspect. Dr. Ellen claims that DNA research has changed drastically. DNA was formerly fingerprint-like. It either found someone in a database or went nowhere. Deeper analysis allows them to create clues and uncover new suspects. Number of markers examined makes a big difference. This is the progress John Ramsey wants. He thinks this is the moment to act. He wants a trusted independent lab to test all untested crime scene samples using these new methods. He's lobbied Boulder police to accept it but keeps hitting a brick. He claims the current detectives have never supported him. They suspected him or Patsy from the start. That distrust tainted everything. John believes the department doesn't want to be wrong despite all the science. He begs them to quit dragging their feet, stop holding on to prior mistakes, and give this case the respect it deserves. He's fed up waiting. He's asked enough. He no longer accepts excuses. He thinks modern tools will reveal the truth. After all these years, John still hopes for peace, and that no one else suffers like his family did. JonBenét deserves justice and closure. People contact him daily, questioning why he hasn't solved the case. How could he do that without DNA evidence? John stated that he cannot progress unless the authorities allow him to join the investigating team. I can't believe JonBenét's DNA is still in the Boulder Police Department's evidence room after all these years. The cops withhold crucial evidence despite modern technology to solve the case. That fact alone is upsetting, especially if there's no good need to hide it. If the delay isn't transparent or justifiable, it's terrible. John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, took a major move out of desperation. He believes it's straightforward and reasonable for the governor of Colorado to order the local police to share their DNA samples after so many years. He stated the petition signers' words moved him. Many shared the message. An innocent child was cruelly murdered, and her perpetrator must be found. Unfortunately, that's not happening. That frustrates John. He now trusts modern technology to find the answers they've been searching for decades. He said they'll use any method science or specialists can provide to find out who killed his daughter. If they try everything and fail, they'll accept it, however painful. Not even attempt. He argues that would be wrong, disgusting, and reckless. Jon will work with anyone who helps advance this cause. The most unexpected people have provided help. Old recordings by former detective Lou Smith were recently released. Even today, his speech advances the cause. Lou's family hopes these videos may assist find JonBenét's killer. Was the fictional criminal caught? Find out. Case status of JonBenét. Jon has endured 28 years of heartbreak. Losing his daughter was unbearable for a father. Cancer also killed his wife Patsy. He was accused, criticized, and ripped apart by the media instead of supported in his grief. Even after remarriage, tabloids surrounded him. Jan, his new wife, was shocked to see them on the front page of a gossip magazine after their wedding. Jon has never given up on finding the truth. Although he vehemently opposed how the Boulder police handled the case, he always liked retired detective Lou Smith. Lou didn't follow the local officer's lead when he joined the investigating team. He thought JonBenét's family was innocent. He thought someone from outside the house broke in that night. Lou had a stellar record. He solved over 200 homicides, including several cold cases. He felt JonBenét's attacker was an unsuccessful kidnapper. Boulder detectives didn't like his opinion. Every time he suggested investigating the intruder notion, he was met with resistance. He maintained his faith. Paula Woodward, who covered the story from the start, said Lou did something unique. He thoroughly reviewed all the reports and reached a strong judgment. Evidence didn't support Ramsey's. Someone had probably broken in. Instead of praise, the local police humiliated and slammed Lou. Lou quit the squad after a year, disappointed. But he kept working the case. He maintained contact with the Ramseys and investigated independently. Eventually, he had thousands of tips. From those clues, he compiled a suspect list. Police had never seriously investigated these names. Lou gave his daughter Cindy that list before his 2010 death. Cindy now carries on her father's work. She's secretly collecting DNA from every suspect on that list. Her hope is that if John Ramsey is allowed to examine the unidentified male DNA on JonBenét's clothing, they will find a match in the perpetrator. She stated her father named her and told her where to start. She and her colleagues promised. To preserve this case, they will do everything they can to continue the inquiry. Jon remains optimistic. DNA technology improves annually, he noted. If utilized appropriately, it may solve this enigma. His quest for answers will continue as long as he lives. In a whisper, he admitted something. He doubts it will be resolved. Jon's request hasn't been answered by the Colorado governor. He worries that without that DNA, the case may never be solved. He is heartbroken about not getting his daughter justice. Jon trembled when asked what they think of when they think of JonBenét. Only apologizing would be his message to her. Sorry he couldn't shield her. He didn't do his fatherly duty. He feels that anguish, yet he knows she was loved most. He hopes they'll reunite someday. Like, subscribe, and click the next video if you liked this one.